Hey guys, I'm Tanya.
And I'm Trish.
And this is
TruthnTales with Tanya and Trish. Yes, the alliterations are going hard this time of year.
I'm going to take a break right now. You go ahead, honey.
So basically, we decided to start this podcast because throughout the pandemic, we both have been through a lot of stuff, I'd say.
It's been pretty depressing, hasn't it?
It's been a time. And basically, we're just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. You know what I'm saying? Is anyone else feeling like that these days?
So we decided to start a podcast, and because everybody else has got one at this point, why can't we, right? We want to
put our, focus on something positive. You know what I'm saying?
Try to build something positive out of this depressing year.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So every Tuesday, we're going to be bringing you guys an episode.
Okay.
Let us know about our interesting, exciting-ish lives, as interesting and exciting as they can be during these times.
COVID times.
Well, we did have a life before that. That was pretty interesting and more exciting. So we're definitely going to be talking to you guys about all those experiences. So
we're going to share some stories.
We will.
We're going to tell some pretty crazy ones. So definitely you want to tune in for that.
For sure. So, the first episode today, we're doing 5 things we learned by 25, because both of us
are 25.
Are in fact 25.
Who would have known?
Okay. So, the first thing we want to say is don't expect life to be a linear path. Yeah. So, for me, school was not a linear path. I had no clue what I wanted to do coming out of high school. It took me 6 years to finish school. Throughout school, I worked a bunch of serving jobs. A lot of shit went down, things, I don't know, one of them burned down and another one closed, and my sister worked the same serving job all through high school, through university, and I definitely did not get that experience.
I still can't believe your place burned down. That's a story.
Yeah, and I loved it. That was my favorite place I ever worked. It was amazing.
She's only ever had jobs that she loved. And
no, that's not true.
Not true. I don't know. It sounded like we worked at some of the same places. And
we worked at one of the same places.
Favorite.
I was not. I was not. But other things that haven't gone linearly, if that is even a word, is driving tests. Yeah, I never passed on the first try, so can't wait to do my next one. I came to this girl's place crying not too long ago because I failed my driving test. So yeah, that's not really going on too well.
What a great intro! What a great
not
intro!
Linear. And then boys, obviously, your love life will just never be lit. The amount of people who meet their lover in high school and end up, marrying them is, so slim to none. And, I don't know, I just feel like that's a bad idea. And
don't hope for it. Don't dream about it.
Yeah, you just need to live and learn, dig it around. Yeah, it's never going to be linear, that one.
That's right.
Yeah. How about you?
So, I mean, my plan delineated pretty early on, I'd say, you know, starting with the whole volleyball thing and losing that. I used to play volleyball, I was obsessed with it because it was my escape. It was my fun thing to do. I loved it more than anything else because primarily I was playing music and I hated that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically had to stop playing after I injured my knee, but not once but twice, and had 2 surgeries. So
she was so good too. Can I just say
that was just it was a fun little moment, but I was heartbroken that I couldn't carry on. Obviously, especially getting into university and seeing the athletes all the time at the gym practicing, just picturing myself being there. I couldn't do it anymore. School, same thing. I dropped out. That was pretty unexpected. I also worked some serving jobs, but mine didn't burn down. I just got fired from most of them.
It happens.
And then just people in general just let you down. So you can't really expect life to be in a linear path. No matter how much planning you do for that, a lot of things will just fall in a different direction. So you have to be ready and able to make changes happen on the go.
Exactly. Be able to deviate, just be open to the fact that nothing is going to go the way you plan. You can't plan your life. Like, none of us could have planned this COVID stuff.
Oh my
like,
God.
none of us could have planned staying home for, like, almost a year now. Like,
yeah.
we couldn't have planned for that. Life happens.
This year's been so miserable. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I know I'm gonna whine a lot, but buckle up.
It's okay. We can deal with that sometimes. All right. So the second thing we've learned by 25 is that boys shouldn't be your whole life. They should just add to it. Yeah. You feel that one?
I feel that one. I
Feel
learned
that
this
one
one the expensive way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ever give your money to any boys, ever.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what he says, watch what he does. You know, those are some key takeaways from this one for me.
For sure, yeah. So an important thing to remember is almost all of us are inevitably going to go through breakups, and multiple of them. And when you go through breakups, you lose on average 8 people that were like in your friend group or whatever. So just keep that in mind, because like you want to have some friends that are not directly tied to your relationship, so that when it all falls apart, you don't lose literally everyone in your life, because
your whole
that's
life.
traumatizing. Yeah. So you don't want to do that. You definitely want to like still maintain your own identity and have friendships outside of the relationship.
Yeah, boys should be a ornament in your life,
Yeah.
not at the center of your life.
An addition, for sure. Yeah.
That one hits home. I don't know how much I should say.
Well, say what your experience is. I don't know what you think.
So, just in general, like, I mean, I always prioritized boys because I was like looking for a way out of my life, and you know, once I actually realized I can't escape through a man, like, it became a lot easier to make those changes happen, because then you realize like you're the autonomous person making decisions for yourself, and you choose how your life goes and which direction. So I definitely like gave too much power to the men in my life before. Trying not to do that moving forward, but yeah.
And I think we've both gotten better at that with age. Like, our relationship is really good. Our relationship with like our friends is getting better now. Like, all right. And the third thing we learned by 25, the ripe old age of 25, is to read books. Like, they're such a great resource. They're so much cheaper than therapy.
Oh my God.
Like, therapy is ridiculously expensive. So me and this girl, we read so many books, and it's something we really bond over as friends. Like, it's something that really brings us together.
We talk about them
all the time. Yeah.
That's cute how we said that together.
But yeah, they just like, we're both very avid readers, and they just help you with so much. And I know like self-help books kind of get a bad rep, but like I don't really understand why. Like,
it's just judgmental assholes being assholes. Like, that's all it is. Like,
they gave you
who hates self-help? Like,
yeah, like, why wouldn't you want to help yourself? Like, they gave you such good points about, like, for me, for example, I'm usually a very pessimistic person, but, like, I've been reading lately a lot about, like, the law of attraction and being more optimistic and, like, attracting things that we want in your life, you know? Which is especially important during this time, given, like, COVID and everything. It's so easy to get into a negative headspace, but I've been really trying to work on that, reading about that. I'm also reading Change Your Brain, Change Your Life right now, which is a really great book about like how important your brain is to psychology and doing SPEC scans. That one's a really good one if anyone wants to check it out.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly reading books about bettering myself and just like getting control over myself and my emotions and like the things I feel and why I feel them and understanding all that stuff. Like, and it's crazy to realize how much of it is actually hormonal, like how much of it will fluctuate through the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
And honestly, the more books like this I read, the more I realize like this is the most important thing for us to do. Really, like we've spent so many years researching, learning, reading, just like with all our free time. So like, I don't know, I feel like we both have a wealth of knowledge that we can share with other people and hopefully, you know, I don't know, that'll get received well. Like,
well, at least we're helping each other, kind of.
Yeah, and it's also cool just to be like able to exchange books with like my best friend, and she reads everything I give her and I read whatever she gives me. Like, it's a cool bonding moment.
We have our own 2-person book club. Just the two of us. Maybe we'll start one actually one day with all of you guys. But,
oh my God, that would be cool.
fun.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Give little oratory explanations of what the book was about.
The fourth thing we've learned by 25 is be prepared to deal with loss. This one I was very, very unprepared for going into my 20s. So in your 20s, you lose grandparents, you lose pets, you lose boyfriends, obviously, you lose friends who you thought would be in your life forever. The pets one especially hit me hard. Like my childhood pets all like passing away in my early 20s. Like that was really, really, really difficult for me.
That was like within a year and a half of
all
of them.
I lost. Yeah, they all like. But that tends to happen with people, right? Like in your early 20s, that's when they start passing away because you got them when you were kids, and you just have to be mentally prepared to deal with loss. And it's all learning and growing process. And it's like kind of getting you prepared for harder things that'll come on later in life, right? Like your early 20s is the start of these losses starting to happen, and as you get older, they'll become even more significant. So just be prepared for that, mentally prepared for that as much as you can.
If this will make me sound like a psycho, but I like was more devastated when my pets died than my grandparents. Like, to be honest.
Honestly, no, because like people have really special connections to their grandparents. Yeah.
Grandparents?
No, sorry, to their pets.
Pets.
Yeah, to their pets. Yeah.
Fuck the grandparents.
They're like,
just kidding.
They're part of your so bad. Maybe cut that out, but they're part of your everyday life, right? Like, so, like, grandparents may not be there for the everyday.
I also grew up so far away from mine.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So.
I used to have somewhat of a relationship. I don't know. I totally agree. Like, death kind of surprises us. It just, I mean, realistically, we've been followed by death since, like, high school. Like, so many people around us died one way or another, and then, like, the pets, and it's a really heavy hit when it does happen, and it reminds you of your own mortality. So it's just like, I guess we've tried to like repurpose it and make it something more positive, something that makes us like cherish the people we have in our lives
for
more.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. That's the good you can take away with it. You really cherish the people in your life way more.
Yeah.
Okay, and point number 5, kind of touching on what we were just
leading into.
Exactly. Is cherish the people who are there for you. Like, the people who are there for you through the hard times, like, really cherish and hold on to those people. And I feel like in your early 20s, you really learn who your true friends are and who is just, like, there for a season and a reason and not much else, Like, who your ride or dies are, and, like, it's important to really cherish those people when they're there for you in hard times. Be there for them, too, and just reciprocate that love,
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, those are the relationships that really feel like bliss more than anything, because like you do truly like spend your darkest and your happiest moments together, and you're like, I don't know, I feel like you know so much about me and like who I am, like deep down, and I'm like, the fact that you're still around, I'm like, I could never let you go. It's over.
Let's not even lie. This past month, like, there's been numerous times I've come to her crying. So, there's that.
How many times have I come to you crying? No.
Not as much, but,
I don't know, this one. Like, how many times you went there and I would just, like, bitch for, like, 3 hours, and you listened. You sat there.
Of course. Reciprocate the love.
Yeah,
your friends are your chosen family.
Yeah, my friends are my chosen family, and, like, that choosing to be friends with these people is like heavier than that blood connection is for me a lot of the time. So
yeah, friends are everything. Great friends get you through
everything.
The hardest times.
Everything.
Yeah, and they just make you. I'm so much happier when my relationships with my friends are good versus like being with like a boy necessarily or anything, I don't know. Those are the most fulfilling relationships. Really.
And generally like the experience with like boys has been that like they're there for a short term, not necessarily I don't know. I mean, you always kind of fantasize that it'll turn into something great and long and forever.
Yeah, it's so weird when you're going through breakups because you go from talking and texting to that person every single day to all of a sudden like complete blank and silence. But like with your friends, it doesn't happen like that. Like sure, your relationship like ebbs and flows sometimes you separate a little bit, sometimes you come back together more, but like it's never that hard cut off unless something really bad happens in your relationship, like it's a lot better.
Do we want to talk about how it's similar to like drug withdrawal?
Oh yeah, we'll touch it. So we are gonna do an episode on like breakups, right?
The law of relationships, when they dissipate, basically you have a very similar kind of neural reaction that happens to like withdrawing drugs.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everybody knows that at this point. Like it's common knowledge.
It's a withdrawal. Well, no, some people don't, so it's a good. All right, so the first key takeaway is that your 20s are all a learning experience. As long as you walk away from quote-unquote bad situations learning something, that means they were successful ones. So just embrace it for what it is and learn and grow. do your thing.
Yeah, and if you make what you consider a mistake, as long as you don't repeat it, it's really just a learning experience.
Exactly.
Like, that's how I justify everything to myself.
Exactly.
Like, that's how I get through it. I would also say, like, time is definitely your most valuable resource. Do your best not to wallow in self-pity. It's honestly pointless. Like, you could redirect that energy towards, like, figuring out a plan for how you're going to change things and actually make yourself happier long term. So yeah, definitely don't waste time on people or experiences that are just not worth it, that you know moving into it that it's like, what am I doing here? Like,
totally. Yeah. And also, last but certainly not least, just don't be afraid to make mistakes and have fun. Like I said earlier, your 20s is all about learning and growing, especially your early 20s. There's a lot of shit you have to figure out and sort out, and you're really growing into the adult you're going to be and who you're going to be. So just embrace it, like I said earlier, you know? And learn and grow and
keep learning and growing.
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're just doing our best over here. Okay, that's the first episode. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Kids.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to come back every Tuesday to learn and grow with us.
That sounds so cheesy. But yeah,
it is cheesy.
Something like that.
Also, be sure to like and subscribe.
And check in with us next Tuesday. Motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers.